Hi, guys, and welcome back. Today, I am talking a little bit about change to behaviors, changes to habits, changes to the way you think, changes to the way you engage with others, and the way in which you engage with yourself. I'm also going to be looking at why we find change so challenging, and indeed why we often find ourselves reverting back very quickly, even when we do manage to put change in place. Now, the thing is, by the time we're in our mid 30s, we are the result of all of the habits that we have developed over the years, all of the emotional responses, all of the beliefs that we have created based on the experiences that we have. And we can have a very fixed way of thinking about the world and about other people. And this can include things like self limiting beliefs, which hold us back. So, first of all, it's about creating an awareness of the reasons that you want to change and looking at the ways in which you need to put that change in place. It's then realizing that you have the following things working against you. The first thing is fear. Your brain's job is not to make you happy, it's to keep you alive. And as a result, it will keep you for as long as possible in a state of tolerable misery, as opposed to allowing you put the steps into place that are required for potential joy, because that means stepping out into the unknown. It wants to keep its cognitive load as low as possible. And this means that you do the same thing again and again, even if it doesn't bring you any satisfaction. Next up, you need to look at the motivation for your change. Now, oftentimes when we think about change, we do things that we feel will get us approval from other people or approval from the masses, and this is particularly exacerbated by the whole world of social media, because we constantly feel we have to impress, and we make choices based on what we think others are going to give us a like on. And as a result, we make choices about our career, about our bodies, about our habits, about our relationships, about our education, based on what we think other people will accept and approve of. And as a result, we're not living our truth. We're not working to our own value system. We're not working to our own true beliefs. And it's important to be able to wade through all of that. Now, the thing is, we're always going to seek a certain level of approval anyway, so there's no point beating yourself up too much about it. But it's about creating some intrinsic motivations as well. And these are motivations that bring you towards just day-to-day feeling good. So things that will give you peace of mind, things that will give you a state of fulfillment and a state of satisfaction, and it's about keeping a balance between them both. So yes, it's great to be ambitious, but you want to feel good on a day-to-day basis. You don't want to feel miserable the entire time that you're studying a 3-year master's just so that you can get the triumph on the day that you graduate, Then the third thing is self-awareness. And self-awareness means acknowledging the ways in which you hold yourself back. We tend to think in a very all or nothing manner. We tend to assume that if we're not a straightaway success, that we're somehow deemed a failure. And that's not the way life is. We also worry very much about social influence and what other people are going to think of us, and as a result we keep ourselves in a state of doing nothing, as opposed to risking being seen as somebody who failed. And ultimately, it's our failures that teach us everything it is that we need to know. We also have a negativity bias working against us, and this basically suggests that everything is going to have a negative outcome. We tend to assume the worst case scenario. And this is a survival trait. This is something that would have kept us alive back when we lived, in caves, and we needed to assume there was danger around every corner. However, when it comes to stepping outside of our comfort zone, it's not always that helpful. So it's about being able to challenge that, being aware of it, and stepping beyond it, transcending it. Last up, we underestimate the amount of work that is required when it comes to changing habits. I mean, these are things that we have done for so long. They feel so comfortable that they're automated. So in order to change them requires a lot of effort, requires discipline, consistency, it requires awareness, it requires, you to be continuously on top of things. And there's things that you can do that are going to make this easier. For example, if you want to break a habit, it helps if you remove all of your access to the habit in order to help you get through the first few difficult days. So, oftentimes people will say to me, I want to eat healthier, just say a fairly simplistic example, and yet they will have a ton of rubbish food in their house at all times. And I'm like, okay, yes, you need to be disciplined, but you also need to give yourself a fair chance. And the more aspects that you cover that you're not going to be kind of led into temptation, the easier it is that the easier you're going to find it. When you're looking at the details as well, you have to understand that with any change worth making, there's never going to be instant gratification. It's never going to be an immediate result. And there are going to be setbacks, and you have to allow for this and realize that part of the joy of putting change in place is the growth that takes place in the hallway between one place and another. We tend to get very frustrated when we don't achieve something straight away, but I mean, that's just not how life works. The way in which we evolve as humans is when we're open to failure, we're open to setbacks, and we're continuously learning. These are just a few tips as to what you need to take into consideration and what can be working against you when it comes to putting long-lasting change in your life. If you like more detail about how you can apply some of these details into your life, get in touch with me on the website. It's fundamentals.ie. You can also catch me on Facebook or on Instagram. And I've recently released a podcast with Neil O'Brien. It's called Touchy and Feely. Go check it out. Really good fun. And you can also catch me on my YouTube channel, which is Fiona Feely. Also, go check it out. Like, share, subscribe, and let me know what you think.